Hidden Object Guru here, joined by...
The Gun Wrangler.
And we are trying out the brand new Viscera cleanup detail mission for the first time ever. It is called the Vulcan Affair, and yes, James Bond has attacked a volcano science lab of a mad scientist, and it's now our job to clean the place up.
Because, I mean, someone has to.
It's so cool. Yeah, and of course, we are back because your schedule has opened up a little.
Oh, yes, I'm no longer working 11 to 7.
Oh my
or
God.
7 to 7.
Oh,
So,
yeah, you have a sane schedule again, and so now we're free to try this.
also, I'd like to note, there's some excellent German varietals tonight.
Yes. Oh, by the way, sharks with lasers on their heads.
That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty
German varietals.
good. That's a nice looking gun.
Well,
Yes.
it's an MP5.
No.
Of course it's nice.
We are here because, that's right, we timed this perfectly. The show of last year is back for season 2, and it is back with one hell of a first episode. We are talking, of course, about Counterpart, the J.K. Simmons vehicle of our dreams.
It really is.
Oh my God. I mean, did he even get nominated for an Emmy for last time?
No.
Wow!
It's kind of like The Expanse didn't either.
Oh, God, they must hate sci-fi. All right,
Well, it's
now we just
almost
have...
like, yeah, they
They
just
famously
hate
do.
art.
Well, they do hate art. And, I mean, I just remember for years and years and years, the Academy's thing was, we will never give a makeup award to anything fantasy or sci-fi. We will only give makeup for people who do old age makeup for things. I'm like, really? That's your rule? Seemed a little crazy to me. But that was their rule. So, famously, Buffy, I think, got one makeup thing ever. Right? One makeup Emmy nomination. I don't even think they won it, but one nomination ever. And that nomination was for the one where Xander had a vision of the future, so everybody had to have old age makeup. Because that's all they'll ever give it for.
That hurts my soul. Just
Isn't
like
that
hearing that Battlestar Galactica is now considered a sci-fi classic.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the 2003 version.
That's insane.
Oh,
Oh, here we are.
it hurts my soul.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Oh, there's a nice elevator here. That's going to make stuff a little easier.
Have we found the incinerator?
I found the water, but I haven't found the incinerator yet. Let me see if I can open this door. But yeah, we are here to talk about Counterpart, which is off and running. And I will tell you, I will admit that 5 minutes into the episode, I got super pissed off. Because I realized we weren't going to see the other side, and it was just going to be our side for the whole episode. And it's not that I think it's bad, but I really want to see what Howard is up to. What real Howard is up to on the other side. And what he's been doing for frigging months on the other side.
I'm just gonna put this out here. It's pretty clear he got the shall we say, Guantanamo Bay treatment.
Oh, I can't wait to find it. Yes, the sharks ate the body. Oh, I'm so happy. You can dispose of the bodies in the shark pit. Yep.
Oh, trash can. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. And something exploded when you threw it into the water. That was nice. But anyway,
Can
so
of
yeah.
soda.
Okay, now I'm a little worried about the soda they sell.
Wow, no.
No?
They laser shit. That's what happens.
Oh, what? Is that what we do instead of the is that what we're
Incinerator?
doing instead of the That's what we do instead of the incinerator. We have the sharks laser them. Oh, this game just got 100 times better. It's like the alternate dimension death portals in the Halloween one.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Way to go, game. You're mixing it up. So, yeah, but we spent the entire time with our side and alternate Howard, or Bad Howard as I like to think of him. And again, can we just take a minute to salute his incredible performance? that, like, never for a moment do you not see that this is a man pretending to be who he thinks Howard is.
Yeah. On a
Like,
moment where you're just sitting there being like, oh, well, you know, he genuinely believes that, what he's doing is right. You can see him, like, even when it's simple things like Emily going out,
yeah.
he just sort of stands there and he has to fight back the urge to go with her,
Yep.
right?
Of course. Like, he can't trust, he can't let go. It's just so hard for him to be the Howard that was. And how great is it that, I mean, his belief, and I mean, maybe Howard wouldn't have, but his belief that it's like Howard would not for a second, would just not feel betrayed by what he found out about his wife. You know, because it's like he didn't, and she's right to say, you didn't confront me at all. Like, how are you acting like it's the same person when you just found out I've been lying to you for 20 years? Like, she's right to be surprised by that, because I think real Howard, well, we saw what real Howard did when he found out. But, the other Howard just as response, well, there was never felt like a right time. And I guess that's what he thinks Howard would do, just passively accept it. But again, it's his performance as Howard that makes it such a compelling thing to watch.
Howard playing as Howard.
Exactly. His performance of Howard lets you know what he thinks of Howard, and I love that about it. Oh God, he's so good, especially when he gets in to see the interlocutor, the spy hunter they bring in, who her getting read in is one of the very entertaining scenes of the episode. I really liked that.
Yeah. Oh, did you notice over here? Excellent whiteboard.
Seriously? I'll check it out.
Right over here.
Oh no! Oh, that's good. Unleash. That's beautiful. Trials with Dino Army. Oh God, these guys are so great. Yeah, a little MP5 with a silencer on the end. So nice. So yeah, like, his performance as Howard being Howard is, mwah! You were the best. And I love J.K. Simmons, and I'm on the record as thinking he's one of the best actors. But wow, this show. If he doesn't get an Emmy this season, I don't know what Emmys are for. Because, hey, we called it with Bill Hader getting that Emmy for Barry.
Yep.
Although, again, how did they call that a comedy? No.
There's no one in their right mind
would call that show a comedy. Yes, it's funny. It's not a comedy.
Well, I watched it over stream with my best man.
Yeah.
I think a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And he's like, no. There is nothing comedic about this.
No, it's not. It's just about PTSD and depression and, psychopathy. Oh, such a good show, though. But yeah, it's sad. And I think it's the one thing that's tragic is that Ted Danson, that he should have won it for drama, because it is a drama. Or they should have said Ted Danson was a supporting actor on The Good Place, because then they both could have won. I was very sad that he beat Ted Danson, because Ted Danson was also fantastic last year. But yeah. So, let's get into plotting. Okay. Something we haven't dug into, I'm assuming they're going to dig in as we get to the other side stuff, right? Is my big theory, right? And I'm so curious about this, is do they have a guy, I feel like the guy who ran off with the head of the sleeper cell, the sleeper program, has to be a mole. Because as I pointed out, there's no way you accidentally leave the one file. Because we know she's not a mole. 100% she's not a mole. But when the entire place was getting burned down and they were murdering all the kids, whoops, they left the file of the people who were going to do the sleeper cell attack. They left all the information needed for a competent organization to stop the sleeper cell attack. that all got left behind. So
I have to
somebody
say I
had to leave
have
that. Yeah.
I
You've
have
watched the
watched
second episode?
episode
Oh,
yes,
okay.
and
So will my question be answered?
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about it later this week then when I've seen the episode. You're right. I won't get into any across the other side stuff, but suffice to say, Quail is still the worst.
God, he's like that blonde on Barry.
He's just the worst. Oh
I
God.
I don't think
So
I've
terrible.
had like quite so visceral like just a
Oh
general
God.
reaction to an actress as I have with that
I
blonde
know.
actress.
You talk about her. You talked about her. Quite I think
At
it's a great
length and
performance,
with
but yes, quite a surfeit of malice. Yes,
yes.
but that's how angry I get at Quail, who I'm like, oh, oh, you're the worst. Everything you do is the worst. And I love in his little montage as he's he's dictating his confession. Even
Yeah.
the show seemed to understand that he's the worst. Because the show essentially states this is a man who doesn't deserve anything he has, and he just ruins everything.
Well, there's that, and the fact that he's basically, he's come to terms with that, and
Yeah. He's
know,
done his first brave thing in setting it up so this will all come crashing down if he gets killed. Now, he's not brave enough to just make it all come crashing down, which is what he frigging should do. And I
which
think
he
that's...
attempted to do. I'd
Yes,
like to know.
he did. He did attempt to do it. He did attempt to do it. But he didn't do a very good job.
No.
And what I find interesting is, and I think... Oh, sorry. What I find interesting about the character, right, is... Like, he never wants to take responsibility for the consequences of his actions. Because he's created consequences, but only if he gets killed. Like, only if I'm dead will the consequences of my actions come out. Well, no, Quill, if you wanted to be a good person, if you wanted to do the right thing, you would step out and do the right thing.
There'd be much less hookers and blow.
I know. Well, the thing is, he gets cash. I'm like, oh, is he going to see his hooker like usual? Oh, no, he's going to gamble because he's just literally trying to self-destructively throw money away. And again, the world of the show conspires, so he can't even do that. Which was a nice touch. You killed me by running... toss that body into the thing. You killed me by running into me with a table. Not sure how that works.
I can't even pick you up, man.
Oh, that's weird. Did I stop existing when I respawned?
Yep.
Oh, okay, so that's how it works. Yeah,
But,
I can get another bucket. But yeah, like the whole world of the show conspires to keep Quill where it needs him, and the show kind of nodded to that in what I thought was a clever way.
Yeah. I feel like Quill is essentially just there to be a whipping boy. Because
I think that's true.
I feel that his character is, or rather can be accurately described as, just, a sucker.
He
There's-
is. He's always been a sucker.
Yeah.
Oh, you're totally right. And I mean, it's as simple as that. He's just a sucker. He gets taken in so easily. He's so arrogant about it. Like, and that's why it's
feels
so
like he
easy to take
deserves
him in.
more, but at the same time, he like that confession was his attempt at a suicide note.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And earlier, he kind of when he did his little half commit suicide, but really just to give them an alibi to get them out of the attack. That little scene was That's when he should have actually killed himself, but he didn't have the character to do it. And as you say here, he doesn't have the guts to kill himself, so he's like, okay, well, I'll write a suicide note for when my wife eventually has me killed, because I feel like that's coming.
Well, let's face it, his wife is made of
Yeah.
iron.
Oh God, and like everything she said in the season ender was a lie.
Yeah, no, she's filled with lies and murder.
Yep. Oh my God, and killing the only characters we just genuinely, without any question, liked in the history of the show. Like there were only 3 characters in the history of the show, who we were just like, yep, we love those characters with no reservations, and that was the 2 ladies who were filing clerks or whatever they did in the organization, and their communal husband. Like, that was it for characters who you could 100% sign off on them being likable characters, and she murdered them. So there you go.
Well, yeah. And then, like, come on. Speaking as a man who could be employed as, like, a goon or a hitman.
I know, she murders her goons. Jesus.
Odd.
Not cool, lady. Although, again, like, if they understand the significance of who she is, then yeesh. You understand why she has to cover all tracks. But seriously,
that's how
like,
you end up with low goon loyalty.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Like, why would anyone work for the Joker? No one's ever made any money working for the Joker. Why would you?
I'm just going to point this out. How has the president of Afghanistan died in, like, the last 10 years? It's been almost 100% him mistreating his goons.
There's people getting their, it's going after your goons. That's the problem. You got to treat your goons well, or you're going to have them turn on you. You know, at some point, I just want to point out, like, if there's anything close to realism, at some point very early in the Joker's career, one of his goons would have shot him. Because, of course they would have.
Oh, you just killed me by walking into me.
No, okay, so that's something that just happens on this level, I guess.
I guess.
All right, but yeah, what I was going to get to, though, that I enjoyed so much was, yeah, Lambert's still out there. God, I hate that guy so much.
Really?
Oh, yes. I'm not a fan of Lambert.
So many more
loathsome
easily
people.
hateable characters.
Well, I know, but I really don't like him. I've never liked their ambassador. And he's just such a dick.
Well, he's like the anti-Quill.
He really is. In many ways, they're the same person, but he's just much better at it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's because he doesn't have any illusions the way Quill does. Like, he's honest about the situation. And he, let's face it, he's much... Yeah, and I think that is why he's so much better. What?
You just ended up in the shark pit.
I saw that when I got eaten by sharks. Which is, yes, there's a trophy for that, in case you were wondering. But yeah, like, what I found so compelling about it is, he's still out there, and I'm like, oh, if there could have been one good thing out of the shutdown, it would have been that guy ended up in a cell. But no, sadly, there was not. And I gotta say, if you're trying to fake a suicide, like, maybe find a more convincing way to fake the suicide than giving someone a razor blade. Like, how would he have gotten that in the prison? Like, the prison is a tiny cage in customs with 4 bunk beds in it. How would he get a razor blade? Oh, I'm sure he stuck it on him with him. Yeah, because they weren't searching those people after what just went down.
Well, to be honest, he could have had it in his prison wallet.
Jesus. Yeah, except that it would that in that case that would have required him to have had it when he was like going to do a meeting on a bridge earlier that day, and I'm like, nope. But then again, I mean, the interlocutor, the inquisitor, whatever you want to call her, she knows that that is the people inside the organization, like whoever from the shadow organization. Like the shadow organization on the other side, she knows they had the guy killed. No one thinks that was a suicide.
Yeah.
But still, like it's not a good way to try and get away with it. Well, it's cleaner than shooting the guy in the head. And you do wonder, how did they get away with because they had to, I guess he did probably slash his own wrists after being told they were going to murder his whole family on the other side. But the question is, like,
in that it could have been something like, hey, one of his bunkmates did him in the night.
It. That's true. It could have been a bunkmate as well.
I mean, if real life prison
is any indicator.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, If there's
People
no
get did all the time.
That's true. But I will say that I reserve the right to resume my complaints about their terrible goddamn security if there's no video of those cells and exactly what happened with the guy. That's why I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that they came up with a clever secret way to slip him a note and slip him the razor and have him kill himself. Because it's like, if they had the other guy in the room slit his wrists, there should be video of that. Although,
Well,
given how bad they are at security in this place, who knows?
it's one of those things. It's one of those true to life Cold War parallels where you're just like, oh yeah, no, Western security is just shit all the time.
Okay. They have their issues, it's true. Although my favorite one ever was they provided this thing in the embassy in probably Moscow, where it's like, hey, the kids of Russia built you this giant wooden seal to hang in there as a friendship thing. And it's like, the seal was a bug? You know, but the credulous Americans just hung it inside the embassy. Like, oh, America, how are you so bad at this?
Well, that's just it. It's like,
Oh,
okay, the umbrella killing in North London
oh
is
God.
still unsolved.
I know. To this day. Although, I mean, to be fair, at least they got the guys. I mean, they did let them go. They couldn't hold them in the country, but at least they figured out who this past year poisoned someone with nerve gas in, England. They do know who did that. So they're getting a little better, even if they didn't actually catch the guys.
Moderate improvement.
Moderate, there are steps they're taking. It's a lot of steps before they get to
God.
being halfway decent.
Well, it's
Oh,
gone
God.
from Mike Tyson versus kid in wheelchair versus
Mike Tyson versus, I don't know, a kid outside of a wheelchair. Yeah,
yeah, like 12-year-old from the playground.
there you go. Although, no, I was just going to try and justify it, but no, yeah, Mike Tyson would still win that fight pretty easily. Yes. So good emotional stuff this week with Howard and his wife. Oh, I'm getting a call. I will pause this. I will be right back.
Stand by.
Hi. All right, love you the most. I'm recording a thing with Chris, so don't be too loud when coming in the front door. You're my treasure. Love you. Bye-bye. All right, I'll pick up where I was.
Okay.
Really good emotional stuff in this episode, getting into Howard and his wife's relationship, and the big question of whether she's going to have had one of those brain injuries that completely changes your personality, as it seems like she might. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out.
Remain skeptical.
Okay. You think there's a certain degree to which it might be an act?
Having seen the second episode,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Well, that is something we will discuss after I've seen the second episode. You got to stop using that knowledge against me, dude. But yeah. I hope, but then again, I hope a lot of things. So yeah, that guy.
If wishes were horses, we'd all have steak and glue.
Jesus. First off, we all do have steak and glue. I mean, but the key part is great emotional stuff, great character stuff. I mean, this one episode is all just setting up for the season. So there's no big incidents this week, except to know that, the people who are operating the cells are still out there and obviously still planning stuff. Like, that attack was not their end game by any stretch of the imagination.
I was surprised to find it wasn't a, biochemical attack.
Well, we still don't know that it wasn't. Like, it would, I mean, Okay, I mean, you're right. It is weird that it wasn't a biochemical attack because I mean, the thing would have to have such a long incubation period, and it's been months at this point, so the odds of it being one are pretty long. So yeah, I thought you were right. Like, you made a very compelling case for why it must be a incubation attack, right up to the fact that they didn't kill Toby, because he's the kind of person who would be in touch with super powerful high up people in the organization. So
Yeah. Well, there's the um I'm not sure if it's come up. Have they actually recovered the corpse in the middle?
they didn't mention it. No, we just know that our side sealed the place off. And we don't know what happened with the corpse in the middle. It's probably still just rotting there. Because they certainly didn't get it,
Ugh.
and we know the other time what the other side wasn't going to admit that it was theirs, so it's probably still there. And when we get to a point in the show where they open the tunnel back up, there's probably going to be a skeleton in there, which would be pretty awesome, really.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I think it'd be a
Um
nice thing.
all
A
right.
good visual,
So,
anyway. Yes.
something we've been aching to listen and talk to and just
Yes.
yes, travelers.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. Before we get on to Travelers, I just want to ask you one question. Is there anything to either disprove or suggest my pet theory that the other side definitely murdered Claire's parents because they thought she was like her father was likely to become important over the next 20 years, and so they needed her in the program?
No.
Okay, so nothing. That's been my pet theory for a while. So I hope it turns out that I'm right, but of course, there's no reason to believe that I am. All right, so I just want to go on record with my theory, since one of my theories about travelers seems to be coming true. But we'll discuss that when we get there in episode 3. Although there's a bit of an episode 1. Travelers, let's go.
Well, first I'd like to reinstate, or rather restate, my personal pet theory
Yeah.
about Counterpart,
Oh
wherein
yeah, the commies took over. Yes, no, we 100%. I'm very intrigued by your theory. There's a good chance you're right, but I haven't seen the evidence the way you have. And next week, hopefully, we're going to go into that more in depth when I see what's going on, because I assume episode 2 is 100% the other side.
yes.
Okay, all right. So we will talk about it. Let's get on record. That is your theory, that the communists took over after the opening and after the virus. So we're gonna find
Well,
out
no,
more
not
about
after the virus, but like during the 80s when the
After the
bridge
split
was
is the
first opened.
Yeah, that's when the commies made their move and took over. And
Well, they had all the advanced technology.
exactly. So it's entirely possible, right? That
Yep.
that did happen. And then that would actually go in nicely with my pet theory, which is that the Munich virus started out as the other side's attempt to attack our side, and just went horribly awry somehow. That was my pet
Interesting.
theory. That was my brief pet theory that was a corollary to yours. That if yours is true, then I think mine might be true as well. All right, but travelers, they ended up in quite a bind last time, because all the governments of the world and the public and their friends and families all found out there were travelers. But it turns out that wasn't that difficult to unwind, because A, the governments of the world already knew they were travelers. 2, the public doesn't care and doesn't believe it. And 3, they could just wipe out their families' memories.
For 24 hours.
For 24. Well, and they did establish
With conditions.
that with very big conditions. They did establish that quite well earlier in the season when he had to wipe out his wife's memory of the plane crash. I'm talking about Eric Close here, of course. Eric Close. I can't believe I screwed up and called him Eric Close. Eric McCormick here. Yes, the Eric McCormick character. They established this earlier in the year, which was very nice. So I kind of like that a lot. I thought that was very well done. And so, yeah, they were able to unwind it pretty well, but we come in with the big reveal, which is The computer, the director, has a way into the real world, has a way into the past. That was
Yeah,
the big reveal this time.
that's a pretty big one.
Well, and I think you're going to remember a theory, and this is the theory I was talking about, a thing I said last year, which was the problem with the director's plan, right? This is integral to the director's plan, is that you can only fix the world if the director can see the future. But if you fix the world in such a way that it's fixed enough that they never build the director,
then it doesn't
you
get
lose
fixed.
the ability to affect
Yeah.
the future. So, and what I said was the only way for this to work out, the only way for this to end is for the director to move itself to the past and create a continuous hub for itself so the director will always exist, so the director can constantly and forever communicate with versions of itself in the future. And this episode was the first step in that direction.
What, the first episode of
Season 3. Yeah, when we meet the computer that the director can talk through.
Have you watched beyond that?
I've watched the first 3 episodes, yes.
Yes. Then you should know that it's pretty blatant that, he's planted himself
Self in the computer.
firmly in the past.
Yep. And so, and I think that my theory is right, and that the director's plan is to make a copy of himself in the past and set up a permanent version of him that will always exist, thereby meaning that he will not ever stop existing, no matter how much they fix the future.
Yeah.
That is my belief about where this is going. And episode 3 kind of seems like they're pointing in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
And that should be good, because that raises an important question. Is the director going to try to just run Earth forever? Is that the director's endgame here?
What about a more important question? Like, yes, the director's primary purpose is to protect humanity, but where does the line between him doing that and him
being
stopping
humanity's
to exist?
evil computer? Well,
Yeah.
no, but like, because the thing is, does humanity ever get the wheel back? Or is protecting humanity a permanent condition from now on?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. And that's something that I think is raised pretty clearly in these episodes, because we start to hear from the government. By the way, David Cubitt of Traitors fame showed up as the director of the FBI, who's the life of his... And that was nice. Years and years ago, he saved the guy's daughter's life to ensure that in the future, he would have the FBI on his side.
Yeah. He had chips to cash in.
Yep,
which was
at some
pretty
point.
cool.
Oh, that's a great scene. Oh my god, that's a great scene. Oh, but at the same time, the director kills the lady's mother to get that message out. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, the director doesn't screw around. I think that's always going to be true about the director, isn't it?
No, I think that the director is the same as cars or guns or any other inanimate object.
Okay. That it does as good a job as it's programmed to do.
Bingo.
And how it's used. Okay.
How it's
That's
used
fair.
is, well,
and that's a big question. Because they keep talking about whether or not the director can make mistakes comes up in this week's episodes quite explicitly. Like, can the director make clear mistakes, or is the director infallible? And we don't get a clear answer because,
well, is the director constantly self-correcting?
yes. Well, and I think I want to talk about can we jump around a bit, because I just want to move to episode 3 to bring up something related to that?
I have a lot of issues with episode 3, but yeah, let's go there, because I really wanted to talk about it.
The massively abused Romanian kid was going to grow up to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
And so the director sent Eric McCormack to kill him, to stop all of these people from getting killed. right? And the bad knock-on effects that that would have. And so Eric McCormack spends a day with the kid, right? And goes through all that and then lets him go.
Yeah.
Because the director says, no, it's fine. You fix the kid. You've set him on the right path. And my question is, right, throughout the episode, the characters are questioning, why are they sending us to do this? Right? Why are they, like, because they could send any team, one that doesn't have an emotional connection to this kid, to just come and shoot the kid. And we know from Justin Lewis's appearances, there are teams out there who would just be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Like, who are just no questions asked, do the job type of teams. And so my question is this a situation where the director was testing whether you can change people instead of killing them? Like, was sending Eric McCormack a test to see if you could fix a kid? Because Eric McCormack's team has started going off the reservation and interfering with the past rather than just following orders time and again. And it kind of felt in this episode like the director is testing whether their way can work.
I can I can get behind that, but
Yeah.
my major issue is more their portrayal of people who trap and hunt. Oh my god, they're
Okay, yes, no, you're right. You're right. It is
evil
very...
serial killers. I'm like, no, this kid is just literally catching food so he can eat
Can
it.
eat. I know, no, I get that. You're right.
Otherwise, he will starve to death.
You are right that their use of hunting as a short form for will be a serial killer is bad. And they should not have done that. And it is not a very, but I mean, they did acknowledge that he would be a serial killer in the future, but you're right that they're making short form for that, like just hunting small game. No, that's not cool. Yeah. And especially since he's so good about the hunting and the small game and clearly still has the capacity for empathy when they see the coyote. Like, the kid still is capable of feeling things for animals and other people, right? Like, he's not over the bridge yet. But you are correct to say that it is very reductive how they treat people who hunt and kill and skin and eat meat.
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool.
As one of those people, I'm just sort of like,
It seems like they're saying I'm a borderline serial killer just because I like to hunt.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
well,
you're right. The show
what happens next? What happens when I decide to go fishing?
And it's weird that the way that the media presents it is that had the kid just gone fishing, they could not have, like, it wouldn't have been creepy at all. Like, no one would have seen the kid fishing and thought, oh no, something's wrong about this guy. But, yeah, because it's hunting and skinning and whatnot, the subtext is always, uh-oh, when's he gonna stop skinning squirrels and start skinning people? But you're absolutely right that the show was very, very cruel in its treatment of a huge segment of the population.
Well, especially here in Kanakistan.
Yeah, I know. We got plenty of hunters here in Canada. And I guess someone could say, oh, well, that's just the point of view of the travelers who, would never kill an animal because they don't have any and they treasure animals. But I'm like, no, everyone at the group home thought he was creepy too.
Yeah.
No, it's not the point of view of the characters. It's the point of view of the show that kind of hunting is. Because I thought he was going to be torturing animals when they talk about how creepy he is. And then I found out, oh no, so he's just got trap lines. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah, he runs a trap line. He eats rabbit. For Christ's sake, I'm having rabbit for dinner tonight.
It's fine. Like, I didn't get what everybody was so upset about. But I do recognize that, yeah, it was questionable the way they were using that as a short form for there's something wrong with this kid. But while you object to that part of the episode, you see what I'm getting at, that it seems like the director is embracing the possibility that his team, like the McCormack's team, could have the right idea.
Well, definitely. I just feel that it's not that McCormack's team has the right idea. They're just like, oh well, by you not being an enormous dick, and icing this kid because he runs a trap line for rabbits
Yeah,
because he's clearly neglected and abused at home.
yeah, and starved. No, but I think there's a message there because the director, the way the director works, I think would have just killed that kid,
Yeah.
like back in the day. But I think the director has seen McCormick's stuff work out well enough that the director is willing to do something different. And I'm sad we didn't get more of Amanda Tapping in these 3 episodes.
I do
Like,
miss Amanda Tapping.
she was so much fun taking over for Enrico Colantoni. Like, that would have been great. And I mean, I know she's gonna be back, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the real question is, so remember how last year I said that the director needs Amanda Tapping / Enrico Colantoni for something?
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know, and I realized that when you pointed out, it could have overwritten him at any time. Well, not at any time, but at the 2 times it knew when and where he was.
Yeah.
But instead, it tried to send him a message, and he interpreted it as they killed it murdered his wife and his business partner to get at him. But really, clearly, it was trying to send him a message, and
Well,
that
that's
kills
just
adults.
it because both of them were in the camera frame.
Yeah.
It could have just overwritten him.
It could have overwritten him if they wanted, but no, they were trying to send him a message, and that's why I think they need him for something, but I don't know what that is yet. And I think I don't know if she now Amanda Tapping knows that, but maybe she does because she let the director overwrite the guy who made the Subternet
Yeah.
instead of
Oh
killing
no.
him. And you're right that I might be putting too much thought into these details. Maybe they just want to keep that actor around. But how good is that train scene?
That was pretty good.
It was so fantastic, keeping the camera on his face for 30 seconds until he's in front of a train.
I'm actually really enjoying the character of the historian
Yes. Oh, wow.
because he's come back into focus and now
He has got a lot to do.
he's got a lot to do, and the fact that he knows how everyone on his team dies.
Well, not only that, I mean, that's scary. The fact that he knows how everybody in his team dies. Or maybe he'll be ordered to change that. You never know. He's not allowed to say. But the fact that the drugs are now showing him alternate timelines?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's...
And he can't say anything about it. It's
Yep.
not like he'd be like, yeah,
Just
by
FYI,
the way, if we hadn't done this, then
she
a
would have
SWAT
come in
team
and killed
would
all
have,
of us.
yeah, killed us.
Yep. And he knows that the FBI lady they're working with, she would have been the one executing them. So, whew, that's going to create some confusion down the line. Things finally came to a head with the horrible, horrible, abusive cop husband and their baby.
Not dead yet.
He's not dead yet, but man, that bullet's coming. We don't know where it's coming from, but that thing's coming. Oof.
I did like that episode where it's like, LOL, fake news, Alex Jones.
Oh, I know. Wasn't that nice?
So quaint.
Oh, I know. It was just well done. I thought it was a good take on it. That the conspiracy theorist was right, and his conspiracy theorying got people killed and then got him killed, so they decided to work on the conspiracy theorying for their own benefit.
Well, I just like the fact that McLaren's like, listen, I'm a traveler. I'm offering you a way out.
I know. Oh, that's so good. That scene where he's like, yeah, all right, here's the deal. If you want to check out you can go check the footage. I'm there. Like, yeah, we killed that guy.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is drop it, and we're going to save your life.
Carry on doing whatever. You do you.
Yeah, I know, but he
Just
won't do
shut
it.
your trap.
Just keep your mouth shut about this one thing, and you can go keep peddling your toxic crap. But of course, he can't. He can't. He can't shut up. He can't stop it, and so he gets
As
taken
a
over.
as a side note, a motherfucker crazy when.
Yeah.
Well, no. Have you seen the clip of Alex Jones and Gavin McInnes? When you make Gavin McInnes look like a sane and rational person,
I know. Hey, look, it's the Vice Nazi. Oh wow, and he's so much crazier than the Vice Nazi. Huh.
he's not
That's
actually a Nazi. I believe
he's just a guy who wants
I
to
have
beat up
actually no
brown people.
idea. Like I can't at this point. Like I can't even comment. I'm just like I
Well,
have
no, but
no
it's
clue
like,
where his politics lie because he loves smoking weed.
oh no, he does. He loves drugs, but he just wants to beat up. He just wants to beat up non-white people, and that's kind of his whole life.
I think he
And
wants
if
to beat up communists, and I have a certain. Hey, if you want to beat up communists, I'm kind of all for that.
yes, you famously have sympathies for it, but you shouldn't. Gavin McInnes is a trash human being. Really as trash as they get.
Pretty much. Let me put it like this: I do agree that Gavin McInnes is a trash human being.
Okay. Whatever your sympathies are for punching commies, you gotta give me to
Whatever
Gavin
my
McInnes.
sympathies for punching communists are.
Yeah. Gavin McInnes is just a trash human being. Quite clearly.
Exactly.
Something I think everyone can agree on. Something that can get everybody to reach across the aisle.
As my token far left friend, yes.
Yes. But anyway, no, it's funny, right? Because the whole scene with him, I just like they have the as long as I'm selling health shakes, I don't care what's true or false. Like, wow, they're really indicting quite obviously the
Alex Jones,
the mindset of Alex Jones, and I mean. I know and the thing is, you can't even say that's harsh, because that's literally what he said in court filings over custody of his kids. Like, he literally said, this is just an act I do to sell health shakes. And it's like,
yeah.
Well, whether that was a lie, whether you were lying to get your kids back, or whether you are just a charlatan who's just selling health shakes.
Regardless, right? You're kind of an awful human being.
Yeah, either way, you're an awful human being. And so, like, the weird part is, it's a cruel parody of Alex Jones that manages to be slightly less awful than the actual Alex Jones, which I guess it's really hard to be worse than the real guy.
I mean, you gotta put in work. Like, you gotta be like Linda Sarsour or something.
Like, he's pretty terrible. But yeah, like, I think 3 really great episodes. I mean, 2 just full-on great, impactful, huge questions about where the series is going episodes. And then the 3rd one, much quieter episode. It does its little clever structural thing to build it around, oh, there's a mystery. What could have been so bad that they erased as many kind of stuff? And I think that's kind of just like stacking the deck, and they didn't really have to structure the episode that way.
Honestly, I'm of the opinion that they did actually ice the kid.
Well, no. Oh, you think they actually did kill him?
Yeah.
I don't. I think the investigation was a success. I think it was an investigation, was a success. I think that kid's still alive. I mean, you're right that we don't see the kid at the end, so there's still a question. And I did wonder about that. Like, was letting Eric McCormick find out half of it and then telling him an extra lie that the kid's all right? Right? Is that all part of the game? Maybe. But I think the kid is alive, and I think the director realizes their plans work. But I see why you think that.
Like, my counterpoint to that would be, listen, we've seen the director operate like this before, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, like, everyone just sitting there and being like, okay, well, the 2 people who had the most invested in this kid
both think that he's fine.
Both think that they're fine, and both have large memory gaps brought on by
Yeah, by drugs.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
drugs and a psychotic and a no and a like a whatever you kind of call the mental episode that the historian had. Because
psychotic
it wasn't
break.
it might have been a psychotic break because he clearly was really messed up by finding out that the kid that he broke all the rules to save turned out to be a serial killer. Yeah, that's
Not just a serial killer, like a particularly bad one.
a particularly awful one. Yeah. So you're right. You could be right that this was all another trick on them, and the episode does point in that direction by pointedly, like, not showing the kid in his new foster home, like by specifically not showing where the kid ended up, and the show even highlights that because we see the baby's new foster home, which seems to be fine. And you'd
Yep.
think logically, if you wanted to confirm this for the audience, this would be the perfect time to show us the kid in his foster home. But they don't, which 100% suggests that interpretation. For me, I'm going to choose to believe the more optimistic option.
Because it's kind of horrifying to believe that, like,
Yeah, they went through all of this.
you went the extra mile to save this child. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, he turns out to be Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, he
And then
you know,
you had to
all of that
shoot-
stuff you did. Yeah.
Then you
had to
like a
shoot him in the
10-year-old in
woods.
the back of the head
Yeah.
to prevent, this.
Yeah, no,
huge...
it's bad.
Yeah.
it's a bad situation. Yeah, and you're absolutely right that it's a bad situation. But the reason I think demonstrating that the kid was only acting like he was out of everything being terrible, and going so far as to demonstrating that the kid is still capable of empathy, I really think that they were suggesting that things can be fixed without murder for once. And hopefully they're going to answer our question and prove which of us is right at some point definitively in the future.
I like how it's a question of, well, maybe we didn't solve this without murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's not. There could be a very sad answer to that question coming down the line. Okay, so I think that's it for these 3 episodes. Before we sign off, is there anything you'd like to recommend?
Well, of course, BattleTech.
Yeah, naturally.
Um,
It just got an expansion.
Yes, and the expansion is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's all endgame. So, now that you've restored the Arano line, you actually have something to do instead of, like, putz around in space.
So you actually have extended campaigns based on the post-game state, like the end state of the storyline.
Yeah, like, almost tiny mini campaigns. It's pretty solid. Also, Pillars of Eternity 2.
Okay.
I've just gotten into it. It was a gift, possibly from Humble. I don't know. I can't tell.
You don't know where codes come from.
And wow, I am getting into that. I'm loving Deadfire.
Yeah, no, they're a pretty amazing group. It's a pretty amazing thing. I haven't gotten into 2 yet, but I loved Pillars of Eternity, which is, of course, this... and... Oh, God, I'm blanking on the name of the game that it's the spiritual successor to. Planescape
Baldur's
Torment.
Gate.
Planescape Torment, yes. Whew. And... Yeah, no, it is. It is both. But yeah, I haven't checked out 2 yet, but I'm excited. And for people who really like Viscera Cleanup Detail, I'm going to recommend another game that basically is a template. I've talked a lot here and other places, but a lot here about ways that they could fix Viscera Cleanup Detail and turn it from a cute niche game that's really great to like an actual hit that millions of people would buy. And that is to add all sorts of like progress trackers and HUD elements and just give you a clear goal and let you know when you've achieved it. Right? Instead of just being a sandbox of cleanliness the way it is. So I've made it clear that if they would just do that, they would have a game that would be a hit. Because it's a great game, great sense of humor, great level design, but it makes it so hard to play and figure out what you're supposed to be doing that I think it scares people off. And so check out a little game called House Flippers. Because House Flippers, basically there's a trash house, and here is the checklist of things to do to fix this house, and you're like picking up trash and using a vacuum cleaner and wiping bloodstains off of walls and like cleaning just like you do in this game, but with a clear checklist of what you're supposed to achieve and a progress meter and like all of the quality of life stuff you need to make it feel like you're progressing in a game. Like when I beat a level in House Flipper, it's like, yep, you completed everything, thumbs up. There's no, oh, what's that? You think you completed everything? No, you're the worst janitor in the world, and we're not going to tell you why, but you're fired. And yep. I'm not saying we're the worst at this game, but how many times have we ended a level with it saying,
like,
you're the worst
23%
janitor ever?
clean.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, although the frustrating part of the game is it doesn't even tell you what % clean you got it. Like, that's the crazy thing about this game. It doesn't even tell you. It's like, you did a terrible job and you're fired. We're not going to tell you what you did wrong or how bad you were or any of the information that would be useful. Ugh! I love the game, but why isn't it more like House Flippers? So what I'm saying is, check out House Flippers if you like this game. I think you'll enjoy it. And the developers of this game, maybe check out House Flippers and kind of use some of those elements into making Viscera Cleanup Detail 2, which I hope is on the way, because I frigging love this game and I want to give you guys more money. I just bought 2 copies of this Vulcan mission today. So, I want to give you guys more money. Give me a reason to do that. All right, so that is my pain to the good people at, I don't remember the name of the people who made this game. Oh, but House Flippers did just add an Apocalypse DLC where you're like fixing up Fallout houses, so that's pretty cool. I haven't dug into it yet, but it seems like a lot of fun.
I may need to get this game.
I know, right? Well, Christmas sale's coming up.
Yep. Aside from that, yes, just buy BattleTech.
Buy BattleTech, check out House Flippers, and yeah, join us back here soon. Literally, it's going to be later this week for Counterpart, Season 2, Episode 2, and Travelers 4 through 6.
Yeah, 4 through 6.
So if you're watching along with us, it's episodes 4 through 6. And before we sign off, think of it, if you have a quiz, think of one. But I want to say, as a quick sign off, I'm not saying Eric McCormick knows that Will and Grace is trash, but he at least knows how good Travelers is, because he went on Stephen Colbert a couple of weeks ago and is seemingly completely disinterested in talking about Will and Grace, just wanted to talk about Travelers, which was coming back to Netflix. And it honestly feels like he arranged to get booked on the show, right? On the week that Travelers was coming back, not by not telling them he was going to talk about Travelers. He's like, can I come back? Can I come onto the show in mid-November to talk about Will and Grace? And they're like, of course, you're famous and people love Will and Grace. Thumbs up. And then he goes and he just talks about Travelers for 10 minutes.
Surprise, suckers. Yeah.
I'm like, really? You brought a guy on just to talk about Travelers? No, there was a token reference to Will and Grace. So I think they brought you on to talk about Will and Grace. And then you're like, no, we're just going to talk about Travelers, which everyone should be watching. And you know what? Eric McCormick is right. Everyone should be watching it. So do you have a quiz?
Okay, we have 3 options. We have The Trek. We have The Punisher.
Oh.
And we've got Counterpart.
I kind of want The Punisher.
Okay.
Can we do The Punisher?
Name Frank Castle's 3rd child.
Damn, well, I know that, but wow, that's a good one. You're going to have to look that up, people, if you want to win that. So just drop that in the comments section. First person to answer it will win. That's a good quiz. All right, so like I said, join us back here for, if you're watching along, Counterpart 202, and Travelers 304 to 306. We'll see you back here at the end of the week, but until then, I've been the Hidden Object Guru.
I've been the gun wrangler.
See you back here, but until then, au revoir.